Hi, everybody. How is everyone doing? So happy to be here with you. So glad you guys are here. Please let me know if you're able to hear me all right. Hi, Red Queen. Hi, GJ. I hope everyone's feeling fine. I hope everybody had a beautiful gateway. I know it was tough. Oh my God. Full moon, eclipse, Jesus. It was a strong gate. Hi, Nia. Hi, Cynthia. So we could feel the effects of this gateway so strongly, and especially the feminine, but also the masculine, because I have, talked to some of my patients, and it has been all around. Hi, the Cobra Gypsy. How are you? I was just thinking about you today. I have some news for you. Well, for everybody, actually. I will share them at the end. It's a little bit of a surprise. I'm so glad to see you here. Hi, Lydia. Hi, Elle. Thank you. Thank you for the sound confirmation. Oh, that's so funny, Carissa. Yes. So, talking about the gate, what we have gone through this past month, oh my God, we're going through so much rapid shift, acceleration. And, we talk about this all the time because we're actually in this process where we really get like 2 or 3 days to rest and then it's game on again. Oh my God, Sharenda, that sounds beautiful. Wow, I would love to see that if you would like to share it with us. Thank you so much. So we're in the space of acceleration on acceleration, gateway through gateway. But we made it out of the eclipse season, guys. So congratulations to everybody. And I'm sorry I was a bit absent during this time, but I was leading two groups of this self-love course that I'm teaching. And because we do work every other day, it was like a very intense course modality. So, and also because I was working with a group, I had to like stay very focused in my energy and, through the gates, doing healing and collective healing is even, more tiring to the body. So I really had to like take care of myself and rest a lot between the sessions that I was giving. But yeah, we made it. And I developed some very, useful tools, I think, for this time, especially, to assist you during these changes, during this particular moment in time that we're living. And that is why I focused on these self-love courses. And if anyone would like to participate in them, it's a series that I will continue to do. It is something that I decided to share with everyone. That's like way less than one session with me. It's an opportunity for everyone who wants to join to be able to receive all these healings and all the support. And for now, I know that they're going They will continue. We continue these courses with a month or so in between them. So anyone who would like to join or to join for the first courses, you're more than welcome to. You can just write me an email and I'll make sure to send you the information. So on that note, one of the things that came up in this last course, it was exactly like how can we deal with the time in between time? Like how can we deal with, you know, the phases in our lives when we feel like nothing is happening, or when we feel like things are stuck or nothing is moving, or when we feel like we're about to change and to make a great leap and to have like a big, you know, transformation, but we're still in the transformation phase, so we're still not able to see. So it's kind of like when the caterpillar is still in the cocoon and it knows that it's about to break, but it's still in the darkness. So this is kind of like the way that I'm seeing this phase right now, especially coming into Lionsgate. I can't believe we're already going into this Lionsgate, guys. It's been so fast. This year has been going by so fast for me. So much work we have been doing. Sometimes I don't know if I live in the other realms or here. No, just kidding. And we have to ground. We have to ground all the work that we do in the higher dimensions. And that's also very helpful for us. So this phase is a little bit like, perhaps not seeing things, perhaps not having evidence whatsoever on the physical world of what's about to come. And, many times in our spiritual journey, because our journeys are internal and we're so used to focus externally, sometimes we think, oh my God, all this work that I have been doing, all this healing, all these courses, all of, whatever you have been doing to support yourself, how and why is this not reflected on the outside? Or how am I missing something? What's going on? Am I doing something wrong? And usually for me the answer is no. You're not doing something wrong, and it's not your fault that it's not manifesting on the outside, in the way that it's manifesting on the inside. But many times, even the things that are manifesting on the inside go unnoticed by us, or we don't give them perhaps enough credit because they're not manifested on the outside yet. But yet is here the key word. So when we're in the spiritual journey and we're doing this work, it's very important to focus internally and to take note, if you want, about your progress and the progress that you have been doing internally. To see yourself in that greater scope and say, okay, I am the evidence of my transformation, right? And my evidence of my transformation is inside of me. So I will take note today and see, how do I feel today in comparison to 1 year ago? How is my intuition? How is my knowledge about myself? How is my spiritual practice? How is my peace? How is my capacity to hold joy, to face adversity, to face myself in certain circumstances? How am I reacting to the world around me? And starting to note that. And then also starting to note, how were you 5 years ago? And how were you doing 10 years ago? And can you start to see the shift? Can you see the evolution of your inner being? Can you notice the changes in the way that you relate to yourself, in in the way that you relate to the world, in the way that you relate to divinity, to your own intuition. So, starting to take note of this is very important because many times, especially when we are beginning in the journey, or beginning for some maybe 10 years or 20 years. So, when we're in those phases, when we're discovering ourselves, when we're discovering who we truly are, it is a whole journey in itself. And that self discovery, that just having space and time to actually be with ourselves, to actually land in our hearts, and to actually start to get to know who we are, who we've been through this whole lifetime that we've been here. And perhaps we start to get to know ourselves as a soul through the many lifetimes that we have had. When we are in that part of the journey, sometimes we can get discouraged for not seeing, the changes outside, or for not being seen by other people, perhaps not being understood, not being appreciated. And many times, because people, we all, depending on where we are, right? But we all have our ego perspective, and our ego is always threatened by change. It doesn't really like change. It's like the little kid that is like, I want to play my Game Boy, and that's it. Oh, but here's a bigger toy for you. And the child is like, no, I want that one. I want my Game Boy. So sometimes in a similar way, even the people around us, especially people who have known us from before, who knew us as children or as adolescents or as young adults, they may even have a hard time processing the shifts and the changes that you are going through and that you have undergone. Like, they may not even want to recognize how much of a shift you have made, because that would threaten the part of them that feels connected to you, or that felt connected to you in that given time. So it's like they decide to see you as you were, not as you are. So when that happens, it's very good to know that it can happen, and to, instead of reacting and instead of feeling like there's something wrong with me, or like there's something going on with me, that these people are not seeing me or not recognizing, or not even recognizing the changes that I have done, it's not to get discouraged for that, but to actually see them in the light of compassion and say, I understand, that it threatens you. You can say this energetically. I understand that it may threaten you to see me the way I am, but I have changed, and this is the new me. The old me is not even here anymore. So this is the new me, and we can establish a new bond, a new relationship from this new me, from this person that I am today. And you don't even have to say this, to them physically out loud. You can just talk to them energetically, to their soul, to their higher self. And when you do that, you will see that perhaps the relationship will shift, or perhaps they will just become more neutral. And instead of trying to, see you as you were, they start to wonder, oh, perhaps this person has changed. Oh, who is this? What's happening? And in many cases, they will start to come around for help or for advice from you, maybe in the most unexpected ways and situations. So the responsibility that we hold for our light and for our transformation, it is only us who hold it. The other people, the outside world, outside circumstances, They do not hold that responsibility. Each thing, each person, each soul holds responsibility only for themselves, for their transformation, for their own journey. So when we actually free ourselves from expecting people to see, people to know, or even to receive confirmations from the world, from people, from whoever you may expect confirmations from, when we take that power back to ourselves, we place it upon ourselves and we say, I am going to confirm myself how much I have changed. In fact, I'm going to write a list right now of how much I have changed. And I will see it for myself with my own eyes. And I need no further proof of that because I'm taking the responsibility of my change and my transformation. And that not only takes your power back into you where it should be, it frees others from carrying a burden that is not theirs to carry, a responsibility that is not theirs, and vice versa. And it allows you to be the example of that transformation and to lead by example. And the more you hold that knowledge of your transformation within yourself, the more the world will start to see that change and recognize it. Because you're modeling that. When you recognize yourself, you're modeling to the world to recognize you. And that is why, I'm focusing so much on self-love these days and really understanding the meaning of what self-love is. And to be able to practice self-love every day as a key to ascension, as a key to unraveling your spiritual potential. Because there is no book, no meditation, no magic trick, no person that can give you the amount of healing, evolution, progress, growth, faith, hope that your self-love will give you. When you love yourself, you model to the world how to love you. You model to the people around you how to love you, how to support you. When you love yourself and you support yourself, you're giving the world, the outside, the external circumstances, the key to actually love you and support you. It doesn't happen the other way around. And it is a process that takes time. And it is a process of learning. Because this is one of the things that we are not taught, how to love ourselves. Or very rarely. And even in the old spiritual paradigm, in some traditions, it has been kind of a key, but in many, it was also disregarded. It was more about just focusing on the spiritual spheres, on the spiritual realm. But in the new spirituality that is being born, in the way that I perceive, and in a very personal way, what I have experienced and what was really the key for me to develop all the gifts, the abilities, the everything that I am today, whatever it may be. The key to that was the love that I was able to cultivate for myself, and the love that I continue to cultivate for myself. And this is something that, even in many traditions, in many places, we always talk about, oh, this, you shouldn't, over focus on yourself, you should focus on others, you should give. The most selfless thing that you can do, and the most beneficial thing that you can do for others, is to serve you. When we serve ourselves, when we truly love ourselves, when we devote ourselves to love ourselves in a way that no one has ever loved us before, we really take the power back. We really take all of our power back. We start to sit, where we need to sit. It's like we take our throne back, or we take our seat back. It doesn't have to be like in a hierarchy, but it does reflect, receiving the divinity that we are, recognizing that we are God, that the divine is within us, however you call it, God, source, spirit, universe, mother, father. Recognizing that that is within you, and that you can serve divinity by serving yourself. When you set such high intention, and you go about that your day, your activities, even washing the dishes, even, chatting with someone casually on the street or wherever, when you hold that light so strong within you, knowing that you are the light, you start to create a ripple effect all around you. And you make other people rich, even if you feel poor. Or even if at that particular moment you're not feeling at your greatest. When you set the intention to carry the light, to be as the light, even if your circumstances are not ideal, even if your circumstances are very, very far from being ideal or perfect or, acceptable to you or to society or to whatever it is. If you can hold your light so bright, even in the most challenging circumstances, or even through difficulty, you start to tap into the infinite resources of divinity instead of tapping into your human resources. If your human resources are seemingly not enough at the moment, or not what you wish to have, or something that perhaps is not ideal, whatever it is, whether it is, money-wise, abundance, perhaps even love, relationship, wherever you feel like there is a lack, try to tap into infinity. Instead of focusing on the lack through the human, try to tap into infinity to fill that lack and to replenish you. And from that, tapping into that, from that resource, start to bring that into the world. So if you never felt kindness in your life, tap into the infinity, tap into the divinity within you, and give kindness outwardly, randomly to people, to places, to things. Be kind to yourself. And you will see how that starts to ripple. And how very soon, the more you practice that, you will start to receive more kindness from the world. And you will start to feel the world as a more kind place. And people will be kinder to you. Or you will receive random acts of kindness from unexpected places. You are never without. Even when we feel, when we see, when we even have physical evidence that we are without something. Internally, when you tap into divinity, you are never without. There's always a place where you can bring in those resources back into your life. And you can try this exercise wherever you feel that you're lacking, perhaps. Give exactly that quality which you are lacking. Give it freely to everyone. I remember when I lived in Germany, I had my awakening there. And of course, I was going through a lot of my shadow work, shadow period, a lot of the most, let's say, rocky roads of my depths. And because of that, I perceived the world around me as very dark. And of course, also, being empathic as many as you are, I also felt and had the empathic sensation of many people in suffering, especially during the winter months. And I was seeing a lot of darkness all around me. And of course, I also felt a lot of the history. I was living in Berlin. So I was feeling all sorts of things back then. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going crazy. you know. And what I did back then, I remember I said, you know what? I'm going to give to everyone around me that which I am perceiving that I'm not receiving. So I started to give out like warmth, care, smiles, looking at people in the eye. Because many times, it's also like a cultural thing, but many times over there, it's not so nice to, like, people don't really like to look at each other in the eyes and lovingly look at each other in the eyes, right? I remember in the subway, people, if you would cross, your view with someone, they would immediately take their eyes off of you, like they're not wanting to engage. And what I did was I started to, not depleting myself, but when it came from my heart, when I was, even though I wasn't feeling at my brightest, but I would treat everyone as if they were me at that exact moment. And I would give out smiles and I would listen to people if they wanted to tell me their story. I would say hi to everyone I cross paths with. Well, not to everyone, but with people that if you go into a store, I would say hi. And in the beginning, like 99% of the times, I got like like silence back, or people looking at me like I'm crazy. But after a while, I kept doing it and I kept doing it. And after a while, I started to see that there were many people who were receiving that and who were very grateful to receive, even just a look, even just a smile. And soon enough, like perhaps a year later, the whole world, it was the same place, it was the same environment where I was living, but everyone just seemed to be in a lighter place. And I would receive a lot of hellos and a lot of greetings. And it wasn't even me initiating them, they were just coming naturally to me from other people. And that is why, when I understood the power that we have over our own realities, how much we can influence the experience that we're having, and how oftentimes it takes much, much less to shift things than what we actually think. Because we are conditioned to think that the only way to shift things is if we perhaps do things on the outside, if we move things, if we, achieve things, if we act upon things. And of course, everything that we create needs an action because that's the masculine energy. And it needs the creation, which is a feminine energy. So there's a balance that is always to be held between the feminine and masculine. And we need those two energies to procreate life, right? We need the feminine as much as we need the masculine. And in the same way, the way that we influence the world, it is about the creativity, and it is about the inner epiphanies, and it is about the inner knowing, the intuition. And when we marry that with a loving action, or just with an action that backs it up, even if the action is very small and very gentle, it will start to create a ripple effect. So for me, in the example that I gave you, the action was to smile at people and to say hi and to be kind. And that alone, and of course it was only when I was feeling it from my heart. It wasn't, like false or like faking something. No, it was just tapping into, that part of me, that infinity within me, inspired by the lack within me that I was feeling. And I started to give that to others. That exactly what I was lacking. And usually in this modern society, we think, oh, in order to give, to the poor, I have to become rich first. When I become rich, I will have so much money that I will be able to give to the poor. That's kind of like one of the mentalities that there are. But it usually is the other way around. If you're feeling poor in any way, if you're feeling in lack of in any way, be the most giving person as if you were rich. And of course, I don't mean, literally just, give all your money to charity or things like that. But it means give generously and start to feel the energy of abundance. And even just feeling, if you see a person who is struggling or who is way less financially abundant than you are, give them something abundantly or give them freely, even if it's something very small. It's as if you would imagine you're going through a very hard moment and, suddenly a stranger comes in and says, here, this is all I have, but here you go. Even that random act of kindness, without even noticing at how much that person gave you, that has the capacity, that act of kindness has the capacity to fill you up so much. to bring the energy of miracles into your life, because you're being a witness of love. And love is the most abundant energy that we have. Kindness, gentleness, compassion, forgiveness, that is gold. And the more you give it outwardly, the more you will receive gold, all the riches, physical, non-physical, everything. And it is always there. It is always abundantly there. It is free. It is free to be given and to be received. So especially in those moments when you feel perhaps stuck in something, try to see, what would be like an amazing thing to receive right now through my heart, through the innocence of your heart. I try to give that to others. And see what happens. Just take note of what happens. And the more you do it, the more you will be in that constant flow of abundance, and that constant flow of love. And of course, as empathic beings, for the ones of you who are sensitive souls, empathic, who are, healers, light workers, etc. This doesn't mean to overstep your boundaries, and this doesn't mean to self-sacrifice in any way. This means to work with the divinity, work with the abundance and the flow that comes from your connection to the divine. And if that connection is not fully there yet, continue to work on connecting with the divine. Continue to work on receiving from the divine, developing your relationship to divinity, to your own intuition, to your own heart. To start to get to know your energy, because that is when another level of mastery unfolds. When we start to learn how to be selfless and self-loving. When we start to see the very gradients of our energy, and that we can know, okay, I am overgiving myself here. I need to stop and take a break and regroup, or I need to be with myself right now, and I need to give to myself right now. Or when it's okay to give to others. In what amount, in what proportion you're able to do that, that depends on you, in your own unique journey, your own unique stage, wherever you are. It's like having this scale that you're constantly striking a balance with, of giving and receiving, giving to yourself and receiving, giving to others and receiving from others. But always holding that perspective of the microcosmos that is with you, your relationship with you, your self-love, what you're giving to yourself. Making that primary. And then working on the macrocosmos, which is your relationship to the world, to others. What you give and you receive from that. And learning how to give support and receive support from the world. Because oftentimes when we go into the macro, what happens is that we are, as sensitive souls, we're very used to giving. And it's very easy for us to give. And sometimes we even hide our own things, or hide away from our own work, from our own inner work, by constantly giving and worrying about others. So that is like a tricky place. And that is a place where if you know that you are a giver, if you know that you would rather give than receive, that's just a sign for you to, okay, maybe I should start working on my receiving skills. And maybe to notice where you're actually blocking yourself from receiving, or where you're actually afraid of receiving, or where receiving defies a thought, a form, a pattern that you had created for yourself in the past, and that gave you until that moment certain security or stability, or even if it was just something that was known to you. And starting to see these things and see what you can drop and what you can let go of, so that you can evolve and you can become a being that allows himself or herself to receive more, to be supported more by the universe and by yourself. Because again, if you don't support yourself, you're not giving the proper model for the world to support you. And this is true for your guidance, for your angels, for your spiritual teams to come in and help you. They can only come in and help you as much as you are already helping yourself. They can only bring in the support, the energy, the magic, as much as you are already bringing that support, that magic, that love to yourself. That is why so much of this journey, of this spiritual journey, has to do with self-love and to learning how to give to yourself everything that the world never gave to you. Everything that you always wished you had received and more. Loving yourself the way that no one has ever loved you before. So profoundly, so magically, so beautifully, so unconditionally. Completely and totally loving yourself. Falling in love with yourself. And see how after that, the world starts falling in love with you. Not just one person, not just one being, but the whole world, all of creation. So how do you guys feel about that? I'm sure you can feel the energy moving through you. And that's just the energy of love, allowing you to remember when things get rough, when things get tough, when we are challenged. That is exactly the moment when we need these teachings the most. When we can apply this knowledge, when we can apply our self-love, our forgiveness towards ourselves, our support towards ourselves. the most. Because being in the spiritual journey doesn't mean that we're not going to have difficulties anymore, or the challenges won't come our way. They will. And as in every video game, if you guys have played video games, with each level, the bad guys become like more intense. But you also receive better tools, right, for the journey. So that is the same. Things get amplified. Our journey becomes more magical, more profound, more filled with everything, because we're here to experience everything. We came down here as souls to be in this great adventure. We didn't come here to, like chill and lay back and see what happens. Oh no. If you're here now, you came for the big mission. You came for the big awakening. So you came prepared. You brought your tools. You brought information. And when you awaken, when you have your first awakening, it is a matter of collecting data. It is a matter of remembering who you are, to start to make sense of it all. And when you start to remember, you have these glimpses, you start to feel this new energy, you start to feel like you're being reborn. Perhaps you feel like you're a completely different person. And there's also a moment of grief when we let go of our old selves, of our old ways. But that's okay. And it's okay to let go. Letting go of things that blossomed and had their full expansion and came to an end is part of the cycle of life. It's part of who we are as beings, as light beings, as humans. All creatures know this. All energy that flows through us knows this. In order for things to be reborn, they have to come to an end. There is a death and there is a rebirth. So the more conscious we are that letting go of things that are no longer serving us, of things that have come full circle, is actually a positive thing for us. Is actually ensuring that we receive much more than what we had. Because life in the universe is always upgrading us. We are in constant evolution. We are in ascension, whether we want to be or not, whether we're conscious that we are ascending or not. Even the people who are completely asleep and have no idea of their spiritual selves, or very little idea, they're also ascending. They're just in a different stage. And we were all there. And we will all be ascended masters one day. We will all come full circle. We will all be enlightened one day. So in that we can honor everyone in their stage, wherever they are, wherever we are. And we can focus in the moment at hand to live it as fully, as beautifully, as joyfully, as peacefully as we can. Bringing in our divinity, knowing that we are our divinity in every moment. and knowing that we're here for a reason, and that each moment in our lives was there for a reason, and that all is part of the divine plan, that all is perfect and all is well. No matter how weird it looks, no matter how discouraging it may be at times, no matter how much contrast we receive, if we tap into our soul's knowledge and wisdom, our soul knows that there's a reason for everything, and that we can be at peace with all that we experience, and we can let it go and let the rebirth happen over and over again. Let more light come in over and over again until you're so filled up with light that everything starts to reflect that light. So from my heart to yours, from my soul to your soul, I wish you all the light and all the peace, and I wish you all the love that you can give to yourself. May you love yourself every day more, because that will ensure that the light comes in every day a little more. May you love yourself and fall in love with yourself, so that everything and everyone around you falls in love with you. And let me know how these practices go. If you practice giving that which you weren't given. And I know that I said I was going to do the Ask Lana segment to answer your questions, but I feel like we're very full with energy, and I would love to leave this message here, as I know that it is also acting on you energetically, and perhaps to just sit in that space of receiving, to practice that part of receiving from this message, from this energy that we are creating together. And I will do another live Ask Lana this week, probably around the weekend. So there we can, change again all of our energies into more of the action-oriented energies of asking questions. But I feel like for today, perhaps this is enough for this message, just to be able to settle in and to find a place in your heart, in your energy, in your space, if that's something that you wish to receive today. Okay. So let me know, guys, how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling. And these are, the type of teachings and healings. Well, this was more of a teaching. I'm sorry for the background noise. That is my dog trying to come into my room. But she's too far away. So these are the type of teachings that I have been teaching in the self-love course. And, if anyone is interested, I encourage you to join us, to come on this journey with us. We are working in small groups, but it has been a very, very transformational experience, I think, for everyone that has been joining, and for myself personally as well. These teachings are coming from the very depth of my soul, of my heart, and they are basically the things that allowed me to shift in my journey and to continue on my journey no matter how hard it became. And they allowed me to resurrect every time and to progress into the light. And we talk about, the feminine and the masculine aspects always. Bringing in integrity, bringing in union, bringing in this cooperation and this understanding between both, because that is part of what we are redefining here as souls. And we're bringing new definitions, new ways to the feminine and masculine relationships, not just outside, but within ourselves. So there is an inner reconciliation that has to take place as well. So if any of you would like to come on that journey with me, you're more than invited. And I hope this serves you. And I'm so happy that you're here, that we could connect. And I will leave you with that for today. But I will come back this week to do the Ask Lana segment, and also to talk a little bit more about the Lion's Gate. Okay? So let me know how you guys are doing in the chat. Oh, and I forgot the surprise. Right, so the surprise, or what I wanted to talk to you or let you know, is that I will be traveling to Hawaii very soon, like in 1 month. So I will be doing, in-person healings there. I know it's a weird time to like move or travel, but just in case anyone is interested or wants to, go meet me there or come over, there are a couple of divine feminines who will be joining there. So depending on how many we're going to do like a masterclass or a deep healing course, and I will also be giving personal healings, in-person healings. Okay, so if anyone wants to join or you're interested, just send me an email and I will let you know what we're going to be doing in detail. So I'm so happy and so excited to be going over there and to be closer to many of you guys. And of course, to be doing a lot of grit work, which is something that I have been asked to do, especially for the Lion's Gate. So I will be landing there, I think the day before the Lion's Gate. So that was, the guidance. So we will do it. Okay, guys, so I will leave you with that. I send you a lot of blessings, a lot of love for your journey, and I will see you very soon. Okay? Take care, everybody. See you soon.